Hi, I'm Tony Fair, founder of Victorian Grooming Company. Is your beard feeling dry or the skin underneath itchy? Maybe you'd rather soften and tame your beard instead. Our classic collection of beard oils, balms, and soaps will leave your beard looking, feeling, and smelling amazing. And if you prefer shaving, our pre-shave oils and shave soaps will give you a smooth and razor burn-free shave. Handmade in Edmonton with natural ingredients. Visit victoriangrooming.com.
Hello everyone, Craig here. Welcome to another edition of the podcast, Tell Craig Your Story. Today we'll be speaking to Yank Barry. Absolute honor and privilege to talk to him. Now, Yank is a philanthropist, Canadian businessman, and musician. In his earlier career, he was a musician, songwriter, and music producer. He was the lead singer of the rock band The Kingsmen, who had their famous hit Louie Louie. And he's the founder and CEO of VitaPro Foods and Global Village Champion Foundation. Now, the foundation has supplied meals for over 1 billion people. Now, Yank has won many humanitarian awards, but the biggest award that he received was the Nobel Peace Prize. Evander Holyfield, Muhammad Ali, and Manny Pacquiao are the Global Village Champion Goodwill Ambassadors. Now, Yank has worked with some of the biggest stars in the world today. Now, Yank was Muhammad Ali's best friend, and he has some amazing stories to talk about. And on the podcast, he'll also talk about Alice Cooper, being able to jam with Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC lead vocalist Brian Johnson, Celine Dion, Jerry Seinfeld, Greg Norman, Tom Jones. But before we go, please go to our website. We're at Podbean. Tell Craig Your Story at podbean.com. We have a link tree there which tells you where Tell Craig Your Story podcast is streaming. We are on all the major streaming services. We also have a YouTube account. Make sure you're subscribing to get all the latest updates. We also have VK for our Russian listeners and WeChat for our Chinese listeners. At Tell Craig Your Story. All right, here we go. This is my chat with Yank Barry on Tell Craig Your Story podcast.
Hi Yank, how you doing?
I'm doing
tonight?
pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good to meet you. It's an absolute honor to be talking to you tonight. So just give us a quick what you're doing here in Shanghai at the moment. Just doing some business.
I own a company called Propectin. Little bit of a stray from the music business. Got involved with it around 12 years ago.
Right.
It's a detox.
Right.
Very famous detox. It's the only thing that works post-COVID to rejuvenate lungs.
Right.
So it's really on fire now. It's every country wants it. I'm here to make a deal for China. We're already selling here, I found out today. we sold like something like $1 million here, not even trying.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And did you come here a lot, or is this the first time you...
No, I was here 10 years ago. And no, I haven't been here since. Been to Hong Kong, been in the area, but haven't been to China.
Yeah. I noticed that you've been quite a lot of times to the Philippines.
Yes.
You worked with Renee on...
We did Journey together.
Yeah, Journey.
Kenny G.
Yeah, Kenny G, right.
And Manny's a very good friend of mine.
Right.
You know, now with Senator Emanuel. Excuse me.
Yes.
Hey, he's going to take another shot running for president. And he might make it.
Yeah, right.
He might make it.
Any good stories on Manny Pacquiao? I'm sure you got plenty of stories to talk about.
Not really.
No?
No, Manny's he's a homebody. He stays home with the family and
Yeah.
doesn't fool around. He's a unique boxer and loves his country. Loves what he's doing. As an alderman and a senator. And Manny's unique. I don't think I don't think he'll fight again. They keep saying he's going to come back. He's one of our Global Village champions. Went around the world with me and Ali and Evander. And we did Ricky Hatton. We did a lot of good. We fed over 1 billion in 20 years.
I can't believe that.
And never took a dime.
And that's certified too. Yeah. Is that like in the Guinness Book of Records?
I think it's in the Guinness Book of Records. I think it
have to be. Yeah.
The Red Cross had issued an official statement when they certified it. I think the last meals were in, Indonesia.
Right.
I wasn't there for those. But Ali and I were in Haiti just before that.
Yeah.
We were in 900 and something million, so.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Absolutely amazing. And let's talk about that. How did that all come about?
I got into the food business. We were producing a textured vegetable protein that was dehydrated, that tasted like meat and chicken, but wasn't, called VitaPro.
Yeah.
Our profits were, I could have got arrested for our margins. And we were making a huge amount of money. And I asked Mohammed, I said, hey, why don't we go out and feed kids? And he said, okay. I said, because I have a Canadian artist who you haven't heard of, Mohammed, but she's going to be the biggest star in the world. He said, what's her name? I said, Celine Dion.
Wow.
And Celine wants to go out and work with us. He said, okay. I said, plus your old buddy Evander. Anyways, before I knew it, Steven Seagal, they started coming out of the woodwork who wanted to go and help because they realized that nobody was making money off this.
Yeah.
In fact, it was coming out of the profits of my company.
Right.
That's when the first Nobel nomination came. It was really, really shocking.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, it felt good. I haven't been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. Muhammad passed.
Yes.
And without Ali, people don't realize he was probably the most recognizable person in the world.
Yes.
And maybe one of the most loved.
Without doubt.
All Muhammad had to do was just pick up his hand and whatever he was raising his hand to do, that was it. And that's how we got to Benghazi 6 out of Libya.
Wow.
It was Muhammad.
Unbelievable.
He did a great job on Gaddafi. Come on. Without Ali, there was never me meeting Gaddafi.
Yeah.
It was all Muhammad.
Wow.
Incredible.
We didn't mention that at the start, but you were his best friend.
Yeah.
You were best friends.
Ball-bearer too, yeah.
How did this all come about? I have heard the story, but I'd like to...
It's real.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's real simple. If you look at the years, he knocked out Sonny Liston, and I sang Louie Louie.
Right.
We met at a party.
Yeah, right.
And became friends. And we were friends 40 years.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And just an instant, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we just liked each other right away.
Yeah.
I was obviously in awe. It was Ali.
Yeah. Well, I heard that he was also like a big fan of your band as well at the time. Yeah. So he was coming to watch you play as well?
He came to 2 of our concerts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which was great.
Was he up the front or was he on the... Oh, yeah, he was up the front dancing. Yeah, right. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good run. It was a great run.
So I guess he would have been a little bit starstruck himself, like meeting you as well. So it would have...
Yeah, and he always pushed me up front with the heads of state, and that he realized that he didn't have the mouth that he had before. He didn't have the rap.
Yeah.
And he used me.
Right.
I would tell Ali jokes.
We were talking earlier about Muhammad Ali, and you were talking about him actually trying to get his medal back. So you want to tell the story about that?
What happened was Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce, got killed in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Muhammad and Andrew Young, former U.S. ambassador to the UN, and had just been appointed co-chair of the Olympic Games, the 1996 Olympics.
Right.
A bunch of dignitaries flew to Japan to have an honorary ceremony to honor Ron Brown in Japan.
Right.
On the plane, Andrew, I don't know if you remember those old Motorola phones. It was like
the brick.
This is 1994. He's talking on his suitcase phone to Billy Payne, his co-chair.
Right.
And I hear him say, Evander sounds like a good bet. I got Muhammad Ali. I was going, wow, God's really working. He's working for us right now. All I did is I pointed to my left, and Andrew started to cry.
Wow.
I said, hey, you want the most magical moment? Because no one had seen Ali now in maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, he became semi-recluse. And I said, come on, Muhammad lighting the torch.
Yeah. This was for the Atlanta?
And they said, we'll do it if you make one deal with us. No one knows. And if you remember, if you saw it live, Bob Costas was in it. He went, it's Ali! No one knew. The first person who knew was Janet Evans, because Evander brought it into the stadium. He handed it over to Janet Evans, and Janet, as she was coming up the cauldron, you could see her face. She lost all her color. The lights lit up.
Yeah.
There was Ali.
Wow.
The torch, and it was magical. I don't know if you know, he burnt his hand.
No.
Because when he was lighting it,
Oh, yeah, right.
burnt his hand, but never backed off.
Wow.
Never complained.
What a professional.
It was amazing. I think the coolest thing was I was standing right next to him. If you look at the pictures, I'm there, and looking down, the last athletes that came in was the Dream Team.
Right.
And looking down at Jordan, Barkley, these major superstars crying, screaming, Ali, Ali. You know, that was, I cry now. It's a rush.
Yeah, okay. Could imagine.
And hey, he was their idol. You know, he's the guy he's the reason they were making hundreds of millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Muhammad. But he was so cool. He's the coolest person I ever met. You know, until today, definitely the coolest person.
Yeah. You're also saying about him getting his medal back.
Yeah, so 2 weeks before the Olympics, Muhammad calls me, and it was never very audible on the phone. You know, I want to see you. I said, okay. I flew to Louisville.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not going to do it. I said, Muhammad, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
Not going to do what? This was like months and months of preparation and special security, you know, in the U.S., in Atlanta, for knowing that Ali's going to be coming up an elevator to the cauldron. People get to see him. And no one knew who it was, so everyone was looking at who's it going to be. I said, Ali, why are you not going to do this? He said, I want my medal back.
Ah.
The true story was they say he threw the medal in the river because they refused to serve him a burger. That isn't the truth.
Yeah.
Because the medal was stolen.
Ah.
And that's how he lost it. Never reported it to the police. And I said, okay, I'll go see it. I'll go see. I guess it's Juan Samurai. You know.
Yeah.
got to see Samaranch, and he says yes, and he had like this little attitude, like looking at me like, what are you doing here? Like, what else do you want from Muhammad Ali? But by the way, he told me after, Samaranch was a nice man.
Right.
He told me after he was a huge fan.
All right.
Huge fan of
How could you not be, mate?
yeah. So he wasn't going to give me everything, but it made me look good that I got it. And I said, Muhammad would appreciate if the IOC would give him his medal back. It was stolen. He didn't throw it in the river. It was stolen. And he said, do you have any idea how many requests we get? And think about it.
Yeah.
How many requests we get from athletes who either went broke, were drunk, and they sold their medal.
Right.
Or they lost their medal.
Yeah.
Or they gambled their medal. He said, we really can't do it. I says, well, if you know anything about Ali, he's not going to do this. He'll just walk. And they went, well, that would not be very good. Because they had all their plans.
Right.
Yeah, he told me, he said, okay. He says, what would you like him to, sarcastically, would you like him to close the ceremony since he's opening it? I said,
bit of a smart aleck or fight.
But I said, I have an easy solution which takes the heat off the IOC. He said, okay. I said, the Dream Team are going to be in the finals.
Yeah.
They're going to win. So halftime, and at that time, if you remember, during the game, I think they were up by 30 points.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I said, halftime, have an announcement that the U.S. basketball team would like to do a presentation. And this way here, you put all the heat on the U.S. team and have Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and the rest of the guys hand in the medal. And what a great picture.
Oh.
It was so super. They were kissing him, and it was really great. So we pulled it off. It was,
Wow.
was a good coup.
It was an amazing scene for everybody, just to see that, yeah. Let's go back to talk a little bit about where you come from, so for Australian listeners. And just before that, speaking of Australia, we were just talking about Australia earlier. You said you're friends with Greg Norman.
Yeah.
My dad's listening, I'm sure he is. He's a huge Shark fan, the Shark. So how did you get to meet?
The Shark, by the way, has created a lot of problems for the PGA.
Oh, right, yes.
He's really kidnapped a bunch of great players
Right.
with Saudi money.
Yes.
I think they paid Mickelson $150 million.
Gee.
We're talking numbers that these guys, they make a lot of money, but they could never make this kind of. And Greg he's had it in for the PGA for many, many years, within reason, by the way. I don't want to get into that. I know a little bit about the skinny on that, but within reason. And he basically told, it was Dean Beeman at the time who was the PGA chair, the commissioner of the PGA. He told him, he said, "I'm going to get you guys. I'm going to hurt the tour
One day, yeah.
And they were doing a lot of things that was just wrong, and like the whole thing, like Augusta, Augusta is like
Premium, yeah.
But you have no idea what it's like, the politics. It's a different world.
Could imagine.
It's really a different world. It's a world of the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Got it.
And if you're black or a Jew, and Greg saw that, and he saw that in a certain part of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, standing up for his rights. Fair enough.
You know what? No. And Greg's a great guy.
Yeah, right.
And hey, by the way, made a lot of money on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Said, I'm going to start my own tour. And he went. He said, "Where is all the money?" Money's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And the Saudis had just started building golf courses. And he convinced them to come up with, I think the number I heard was $2.5 billion, and be able to go and
How can you
romance certain players.
I mean, how can you not say no to that?
We think we're untouchable. And I had a conversation with Dustin Johnson. I don't know if you know who Dustin Johnson is. Great PGA player.
Right.
And former PGA player. And probably made 30, 35, 40 million on the PGA Tour. He gave him $100 million.
Wow.
How do you walk away? And you're playing the great courses.
Yeah.
You're playing with guys who you played with before. It just isn't the PGA.
Yeah.
Now the PGA is starting to soften, by the way. Greg's winning.
How convenient, right?
Now they've allowed these players to play in the majors.
Right.
How can you deny them playing in the majors? They've won so many tournaments. And so Greg's winning.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
God bless him.
Good on him.
Him and Chrissy, and they're a great couple.
That's great. And you said before you've been to Australia a couple of times?
Yeah.
Yeah? Where have you been to?
Sydney, Melbourne.
Love it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah,
And
great country.
yeah, and you did some surfing, or what did you do?
As a matter of fact, I did some recording with a Little River Band.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, I mixed the session for them.
Right.
I flew in, I think it was for Capitol Records. That was fun.
Really cool. May as well keep on the topic. Going through the list of all the musicians that you've either played with or you've produced, or there was one that stood out, AC/DC. We're just talking about them as well.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, Alice Cooper.
Jimmy.
But yeah.
Played a lot with Alice, yeah, but jammed with Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was in the early '60s when I was with the Kingsmen in Greenwich Village.
And did he want to come up?
He was on stage at a club called the Café Wa, which was a small little rock and roll cafe. And Jimmy had not had a huge hit yet, but he was known. And he was on stage playing, and I came in, and he invited me up, and we jammed for about half an hour.
Yeah.
Very cool guy.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he seemed like down to earth. Like
Died too young.
they took his guitar away from him. I've seen in the documentaries.
Yeah.
Once they took the guitar away from him, he didn't know what to do. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have every rock musician Like Brian Johnson said it the best. He said, "I learned how to play guitar by playing Louie Louie."
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
He says so. That was the reference to me.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was a good run because of Louie Louie. I do a thing which I stopped 5 years ago when Muhammad passed away called Celebrity Fight Night. We do that. We do it in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then we moved it to Phoenix, Arizona. But everybody shows up for that.
Right.
And the jam sessions are just ridiculous.
Right. The who's who, right?
The who's who of who's who
Right.
on stage, and they all come because of Muhammad.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And it raises a lot of money for Parkinson's. And it's also Michael J. Fox also co-hosts. And, you know, Michael has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good run. You know, we did Money before the Beatles. You know, the best thing in life you find.
Yeah.
I sang that, you know, so, but it was 6 months before the Beatles.
Yeah, right.
But had a good run with, you know, Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yes.
Gilbert O'Sullivan. And
Tell us a little bit about Engelbert Humperdinck. You recorded an album with him?
yeah.
Christmas time?
After the Lovin' and Christmas Time Again.
Yeah. Tell us about that experience.
Well, the experience, he's not Tom Jones. Let's just say it that way. He's 86 years old.
Wow.
Still
Cool.
walking.
Still catch up with him?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Okay.
No. He changed managers and personnel like he changed his underwear
Right.
overnight.
Right.
Everybody's gone, and
Yeah.
that was Enge.
Kept to himself.
Where Tom is just Tom's a good guy. What you see is what you get. And Tom's 81, and he has the chops that he had 30 years ago.
How is that?
I don't
It's
know,
just
phenomenal.
yeah, the voice is
And
just
he doesn't lower the keys.
yeah,
the same
right.
keys.
Still keeps in the normal. Okay. Wow.
I don't know how he hits him. It sounds like Delilah. Like
Yeah.
he goes upstairs and hits him.
Wow. And he still gets up there and grooves and it still looks he's having a good time. Like yeah.
Loves it.
Good on you. Brian Johnson. What was your collaboration with him?
Brian Johnson. Brian and I became friends with celebrity golf tournaments.
Right.
Brian loves to play golf.
Yeah. Right.
Brian and Brenda, his wife, would ask me, "Hey, when's the next celebrity tournament?" Because why do they ask? Because it's all comped.
Yeah.
You know, they fly you there first class, and you know it's a great gig, and you get to play golf, and you get to play golf with some of the great pros who are your idols, the guys that you love. And so Brian and I got him into a lot of the tournaments and played in a few of my charity tournaments.
Yeah, right.
And that's how we became friends.
Was Alice a part of that? Because I hear that every time Alice Cooper comes to Australia,
Alice was a part of that.
performs, and then he's trying to find the golf course.
Alice books a lot of his gigs around
Really?
golf courses.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Time of year, making sure I'm playing here in Australia. That's where he plays. Great. Yeah, Alice is great that way. But Brian would, and Brian's not a good golfer.
Really?
Loves the game.
Wow.
He just loves the game.
Might have to have a game with him so we can be bad together.
And I played a lot with Tiger.
Oh, you're right.
You know, we're friends.
Wow.
Great guy.
Yeah, tell me about.
He's another, almost the caliber of an Ali.
Yeah, right.
When he walks in somewhere, it's Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know, he's got this aura around him, and he's become a lot more human since the injuries.
Right.
And since he doesn't have that same skill anymore, he's so approachable and lovable. You know, and he's turned into be a superhuman being.
Humble?
Yeah.
That's what I can imagine.
Without a doubt, the greatest guy to ever pick up a golf club, better than Bobby Jones or any of the previous ones. What this guy's done, it's just...
He's still going. He's still doing it, yeah.
And he could still do it.
Playing really, still good.
Still do it. You know, he had to pull out of the Masters because he couldn't handle the walking. But he'll come back again. And contrary to what other people say, I'm betting against the other people, the experts, and I'm betting that he will play on the senior tour.
Yeah.
Then when he's 50, you'll see Tiger Woods on the senior tour because he'll break every record again.
So it's injuries, right? Yeah, right. They're not allowed to use the buggy, like the cart, to take them, or if they are injured? No, got it.
But on the senior tour, he can't.
Oh, gotcha. There you
have
go.
to walk.
Just hit it 300 yards, 300, 400 yards that way.
Yeah.
Straight.
You know, the first time I met Tiger, ironically, it was with Renee.
Right.
Renee invited me to the Tiger Jam.
Yeah.
And I sang and then I played, and that's how I met Tiger. It's funny, we're all in the same room.
Wow. I've got to get on these golf games. I tell you what, like, Renee's meeting he got his first opportunity in the golf game, and, you're meeting Tiger Woods at the golf course. Got to start playing some more golf.
Yeah.
What I want to ask maybe 20 minutes ago was where you grew up.
Montreal. We had moved. My late dad was a butcher, and we had moved to a place called Chamonix, which is the outskirts of Montreal. And why did we move there? Because it was cheap.
Yeah.
You could get a 3 or 4 bedroom home. We were 6 kids, 3 or 4 bedroom home for, at that time, it was like $17,000 or $18,000, which was money then, but still not a lot of money. And when we moved in, the day we moved in, all our windows were broken because we had a mezuzah on the door, which is where Jews live.
Yes.
And he broke all our windows. And going to school, my brother and I were walking to school, and they caught us. It was the Sutherland brothers, never forget them. Brucey and David Sutherland. They grabbed us with their gang, and they dug these holes in the snow and buried us up to our necks. And to this day, I have claustrophobia because of that.
Still.
I'll never forget that. I didn't know you knew about that. Well, I never really surfed, so
Yeah, right.
It's amazing because I got to see David Sutherland, not Brucey, but I got to see David around 10 years later. And I was with a friend of mine, Howie Jones, who was a karate expert. And I told him the story, and he kicked the crap. I was, yes, there is a God. My dad passed away at 36, and 6 months later, my 5-year-old brother passed away. And I thought everyone was dying, and I ran away from home. I had family in Israel. I ran to Israel, and I was there, and I was on a kibbutz. And the first morning they woke me up at 5 o'clock to go to work. I thought there was a war with the Arabs. I don't get up at 5 o'clock. And ran away from the kibbutz. The only thing that I had brought to Israel with me was my Fender guitar and my Gibson amp.
That's it. And I wrote it down. It was your Uncle Louis.
Yeah, my Uncle Louie bought me. How did you know that?
Oh, I do my research.
Wow. My Uncle Louie bought me that for my bar mitzvah.
Yes.
And so I had my guitar. And my guitar and my amp, I figured was enough to get myself, and my brother Steve was with me, get us back to Canada. So I didn't want to write home and say, we want to come home. This way here, I'll just sell my guitar, sell my amp, buy tickets, and go home. And it was John Carey and his orchestra. And the club was the Minus 206 Club in Tiberias.
Right.
And the club is 206 feet below sea level.
What's the acoustics like down there?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, right.
I walked in with my guitar and my amp, and I think I was 15. And John Carey was there when I came in, the English John Carey, the band leader. And he says, what are you here for? I said, I'd like to audition as a guitarist. He said, okay. And he says, goody goody in G. I said, okay. And so you met someone who set you back on your heel. And I'm playing, and he finishes the song. He says, you don't play that well. I said, you don't sing that well. I said, let me sing the song. And that's how I started singing.
Right.
Gave me the gig right away. He said, you got the gig.
Where did you get your chops from? Where did you get this voice from?
It's just there.
No practice, no teaching, just wow.
No.
That's a talent.
The only teaching I had was for my bar mitzvah. That was it.
Yeah, right. And then you formed your first band, the Footprints?
The Footprints. We formed the Footprints. Our first record, first big record was Never Say Die on Capitol. Then we had Ticket for a Mobile. Then I had an audition. What happened was a lot of people think I was the original lead singer of the Kingsmen. I'm not the original.
No.
And in '65, there was an audition in California because Jack Eli had either died or I don't know what happened, and there was an audition for lead singer for Kingsmen. I was still with the Footprints. I went to the audition, got the gig, and became a Kingsman.
Wow.
That was it for the Footprints.
Yeah, just automatic success. And then Louie Louie, when did that come out? Was that the album that you...
Louie Louie came out the end of 63, beginning of 64.
Right.
Before me. The singer was Jack Eli. Jack Eli was never with the band. He went to Vietnam, and that was
right.
We were at war, and was never with the band. Never toured with the band, and I auditioned, and I became lead singer of the band.
Got it. Yeah, because that song is like so raw. I love it. It's raw.
What's really amazing, I always say, you can talk about Nobel Peace Prizes and everything, but when I die, they're going to say the guy that sang Louie Louie died today. You know, like, some funny things happen that I'm sure you can relate to. Like, I'll see someone like Tony Martin,
Yeah.
the manager of the New York Yankees,
Yeah.
and I go, Louie Louie. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really nice feeling.
Wow. Yankees. Are you a Yankees fan?
Yeah.
Right. I'm a Braves fan. Atlanta Braves.
Not a good team.
So I'm going there, like I said, in August, and I'm also going to Montreal.
You're going to Montreal?
I'm following Metallica for 1 month. Yeah.
How long are you going to be in Montreal?
I'm going there for a week.
Okay, let me know when you're going to be there. We'll keep in touch, and I'll have my brother Alan take you out to show you around.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, my brother Alan's also a great musician.
And then I'm flying to Summerside in the Prince Edward Island.
Oh, I don't know that area.
Anyway, Jerry Seinfeld is doing a show there.
Okay.
So I bought a ticket to go there. I've never seen it. He's one of my favorite comedians. And it's like,
Jerry is great. I know Jerry.
yeah.
Also a huge fan of Ali's.
Right.
He's a Muhammad fan. Yeah, Montreal's a great city. I go back every once in a while.
Yeah. So whereabouts are you based now at the moment? You said Bulgaria and...
I live in Boca Raton, Florida, at a great golf and country club called St. Andrews.
Right.
And so we have 2 great courses, and so we spend 6 months less a day
Yeah.
in the U.S., and the rest of the time we're in Bulgaria, travel around Europe.
Still coming back to Canada?
I don't visit too often. I still have 2 brothers and a sister there. Look, everyone died,
Yeah.
including my daughter. My daughter passed away. That was very, very tough, and that's why another reason I stopped going. It was just too hard.
Yes.
You know, you get over it, and I'll probably go maybe this summer. Maybe I'll take Meg to show her Montreal.
Yes. Talk about Meg, the lovely Meg.
Meg is the love of my life.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to meet her in Bulgaria, and she was my banker.
Right, there you go.
She was a private banker, and that's how we met. And we just spent 4 months in.
Was it love at first sight or?
It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. And we spent 4 months in Florida, and the rest of our time we just built a great new condo in Bulgaria and Sofia, and we traveled.
I've never been there before.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah, beautiful.
I'll definitely have to get there. And that's the thing, like all these big celebrities that you've met, you talk about all of them, how nice they are.
Yeah.
And in the media, like they just have all these different opinions or...
They really don't know them, you know. It's hey, I met plenty of assholes too.
Yeah, that's true as well.
We don't talk about them, you know. And most of them are not rockers; they're actors. And a couple of actors that you really want. We won't even mention their names, but they don't deserve it. No, the rockers they're all cool.
Yeah.
You know, guys like Alice Cooper. Alice is a prince. You know,
For sure.
a guy. Brian Johnson. Come on, Brian's a walking cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, he's the funniest man I've ever met. You know?
Yeah. And he's that accent as well, like...
The accent and the hat.
Yeah, the hat.
Height, and it's just, he's just a funny
Just a
man.
cool guy, yeah. I could just imagine, yeah. All right, Yank. Thank you very much.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And hope to see you again.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much.
Great.
Hi, I'm Nigel the Shanghai Psychic. I can tune into your loved ones in the spirit world, but I can also tune into you, tell you about your path and the choices that you need to make and need to know. I'm currently giving 30% discount on all Tell Craig Your Story listeners. Just use the code Tell Craig Your Story for 30% off your first psychic reading with me online at Nigel the Shanghai Psychic.